The Radetzky March is a 1932 book by the Austrian writer Joseph Roth. It's an historical novel about 3 generations of the Trotta family, but it focuses on their connections to Austria-Hungary in such a way as to chart the state's rise and fall as well. This might not sound very interesting or even meaningful. Everyone's heard of Austria and Hungary, but what the heck's Austria-Hungary? Well, in the 19th century, it was the biggest country in Europe after Russia. It was multi-ethnic and it was developing into an industrial powerhouse. It was ruled by the House of Habsburg, whose representatives had been major players in continental politics since the 11th century. It was all dismantled after World War I. The Radetzky March therefore takes us back into a vanished world. The novel begins when an infantry lieutenant called Joseph Trotta saves the emperor's life on the battlefield in 1859. The emperor rewards him by making him a baron. Henceforth, however, Baron Trotta never really feels at home in the aristocracy, though he accepts his elevation. Then, when his son Franz goes to school, he's taught things about Austria-Hungary which aren't necessarily true, but which are designed to instill patriotic pride. Such as that his father, Baron Trotta, wasn't an infantryman when he saved the emperor's life, but a cavalryman. Joseph, Baron Trotta, appeals to the emperor. He wants the lie corrected, but the emperor declines. This is the central event on which the novel hinges. It establishes a parallel between the way in which Baron Trotta feels like a sham and the way in which Austria-Hungary to some extent is a sham. The way Trotta laments it, but the country revels in it. We now have the perfect basis for the unfolding of a tragedy. The fate of the Trottas, well-meaning, sincere, yet trapped in a gilded cage, is inextricably linked to the fate of the nation. Both are houses of cards. The tragedy goes up a gear when the 3rd generation of Trottas innocently come to believe all the patriotic falsehoods. Joseph really had been a cavalryman, and it's a tradition they need to live up to. In many ways, the Radetzky March is better than War and Peace, which also attempts to chart fictitious family stories against real historical events. Firstly, the reader doesn't have to endure the author's tedious theorising. Secondly, it's more streamlined. Thirdly, the society and nation is more or less coterminous with the timeline of the novel in a way in which the society and nation of War and Peace isn't. In the epilogue, there's a real sense of an era ending.